Valentine's Day plans. We kind of
don't have any.
Yeah, we fly by night.
Never do too much. I don't think we really do. We celebrate our birthday?
I mean, yeah.
We celebrate love, but we don't.
Every day is Valentine's Day in this household. A regular day for us is a lot of work. She's a supervisor at her job. I work a lot of nights, so for me, you know, so we always coming and going, which I think kind of works in a good way sometimes. You know, we miss each other sometimes, but we don't get a chance to get on each other's nerves as much as a couple that comes home at the same time and be around each other all day, all night. So, you know, it works out for us. What do you think?
Yeah, because during the pandemic,
I got on the nerves. Yeah, she was ready to scream.
mm-hmm.
She needed a vacation, and one of them alone joints too, like go by herself.
I kept sending you kept going to Home Depot.
Yeah. I was Home Depot like 3 times a day. So, yeah.
So we have 3 kids. Our oldest is Jaden, he's 18.
Mm-hmm.
Middle one is Jai, he's 11. And our youngest is Journey, she's 6.
Yeah. And we also live with my mother-in-law who stays with us. So we got a big household, man. It's always people around. So I grew up like that, you know what I mean? A house full all the time. And my parents always took everybody in, fed everybody. So that's the kind of household I like.
I have a lot of cousins, but I'm an only child. So let's give and take. I don't have siblings.
Yeah, selfish, introverted. We had a mutual friend that introduced us. And, you know, she started liking your boy. I was moving around, being in the music and all that.
Distorted. This is really distorted.
No, I mean, tell the truth. She liked me, you know what I mean? I was giving her the stiff arm for a couple minutes just to kind of see where she was at.
That's true.
And she was persistent. I appreciate you. You all right. She was persistent and, you know, we went out a couple times. She said I stood her up on the first date, which I still don't remember.
He did.
But, you know.
We were supposed to meet at the Denny's.
Yeah.
On Benning Road.
Okay, so that says a lot about the date. Going to Denny's on Benning Road. But
you were supposed to meet me there after the club, but you didn't show up.
I had some...
had me at Denny's by myself.
You was down there by yourself?
Yeah. Okay, maybe I wasn't really by myself, but...
Anyway, you know. That time of night after the show, I probably was sleepy and tired, so I probably
sure you were.
Well, for me, when I saw our oldest son is from a previous relationship, and when I saw her around him, he was probably 2 or 3 years old at the time.
He was 3.
3, yeah. When I saw her around him, and the amount of love she had for him, and that she was beautiful and smart and all that. And that, that completes the package. But when I saw her around my son, it was more, she gave me that motherly feel that I've always had in my mom. And so with that, it was icing on the cake. And then, I go to the clubs and you kind of see the same old all the time. And she was just different, you know what I mean? In school, had something going for herself. And I just, I fell in love with her grind and her drive and who she was.
It was a little bit of the same for me. When I first met him, just seeing him with his son, different from some of the guys I had been with. He had your own car, he had your own house. So it was like, oh, okay, well, he can match my swag. I didn't have my own house, but I was just like, at the end of the day, I could buy my own house. So it was finding somebody that I felt like was equal to me. I felt like he was a good parent. I didn't have any kids, but my closest friends had kids. So I knew what it was like to be a parent and what you need to do on a daily basis to take care of somebody else. And to see him do it, it was like, oh, okay.
By myself?
By himself. Your mother helped you.
Yeah, my
and
parents
your
helped
sister.
a lot, yeah.
And your other sister.
Yeah.
And your brother.
All right, well, I'm asking
But to see him go through that and be a dad, it was like, okay, we got some foundation here. This could work.
Yeah. 11 years later.
Here we are.
More than that, but
It was 06.
yeah.
It was 06.
We didn't get married to 2011.
Mm-hmm. And I think I formally say we met in 06.
Yeah.
That's when we went to Jamaica. But we were introduced in 05.
Right. She went with me before I went with her. And
I will say that. In my head,
yeah.
you were my boyfriend beforehand.
Yeah. Stay with it, baby. Appreciate it.
You kept making me take my toothbrush out your house.
Yeah, can't have it. That's just one of my rules. Can't leave your toothbrush at the house. But, you know, eventually she got her own toothbrush at the house.
I did.
Yeah. Even let you keep a couple bags there.
Yep. Never got a drawer though.
Yeah.
You ain't had a drawer.
Nah, I ain't had no drawer.
Dresser. Okay.
Yep. So that's our story. I think that's what part of it.
Personality.
Yeah, that's part of it. Like she wakes up smiling. You know what I mean? It's one of the things I like about her. When I get home late, I snuggle up behind her, and you know, she always smiling. Or then I start messing with her and make her mad. You know, won't let her go to sleep. But we always joking. I'm always joking. I guess I get on the nerves sometimes. And
I never know when I'm supposed to take him seriously.
Yeah, because I'm always playing around. But when I'm, you know, like sometimes we in bed, all the time we in bed at night, I'm always messing with her, playing in her nose, tickling her feet, and all that. But she likes it, even though she get mad. Or we wrestle. When you get fed up.
Yeah. I threatened to go sleep in another room.
Yeah.
And then he said, okay, I'm finished.
And then she come back to bed, and then I do it again. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. I think that you know,
we're fun.
Yeah, my brother always told me. Speaking of my brother, he always told me, you know, if you can make a woman laugh, you know, you can make her happy. And I just took that to heart, you know, a long time ago. But I mean, in essence, it's really just we go in cycles. You know what I mean? Like life is a bunch of cycles strung together. And for us, you know, we gotta reinvent that love every 6 or 7 years to sustain how we felt for one another in the beginning. You know what I mean? And kids help do that. Trips help do that. And life experiences. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's been perfect, but I really feel like I got lucky meeting my wife.
I might have lucked up on you.
I mean, you could have did, you know, you could have had anybody you wanted, honestly. But I appreciate you.
I chose a square like you.
Yeah, old square guy like me. I appreciate that. Yeah. And she don't mind when I get a little round amount of midsection. You know what I'm saying? She likes me for who I am. Appreciate it.
Oh, I told you that in the beginning. In the beginning, we used to never tell each other, I love you. I think it took a while.
Yeah. I was scared then though.
But I used to say, I like you.
Mm-hmm.
So we would leave each other and I would be like, I like you. And so then he picked up on it and he would say, I like you. And then I would say, I like you more.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our way of like saying I love you without saying I love you in the beginning.
So childish. It was childish.
I mean, for some people that's a lot to say I love you.
I know, but I was just, you know, I didn't want to jump. But you know, for me, I was young. So I was just almost turning 30, I think. Something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to dive into this whole life that we got now yet. I don't think.
And I guess I say that, but he popped the question first. Well, I wasn't even thinking about it. It wasn't on my radar when he asked me to marry him.
Yeah.
Wasn't on my radar.
She was just having fun, hanging out. That's how we are. When you ask me about Valentine's Day, I only think about it until the day of. I might say, hey, let's go somewhere for Valentine's Day. When we got married, I said, hey, you want to get married tomorrow?
I told him I had a hair appointment. Can we pick another day?
And we went and got married.
Sitting on the bed one night, I was pregnant with Jai, almost due. And I feel like he said something to me like, well, guess we might as well go ahead and get married before the baby is born. That way we all had the same last name. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. When you trying to do it? And he was like, I don't know, what you doing tomorrow? I was like, I got a hair appointment. I said, I get my hair done on Wednesdays. I said, can we pick another day? He was like, I mean, yeah, pick another day.
Mm-hmm. And then you had Jai.
Yeah, that was kind of a whirlwind. We picked a day because I don't know what we did first. Long story short, we had went in downtown. We went to the courthouse, and we couldn't get married that day. It was something they were telling us back. It was something. So they were like, come back and we'll do your ceremony in 2 weeks. We were like, okay, that's fine. And looking at the dates, we were like, okay, our son is due on the 31st, but we should make it because the wedding would be before then. Mm-hmm. Okay, everything was fine. He came 2 weeks early. So literally, I had him on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. I was discharged from the hospital on a Friday. We got married on Monday. Yeah. That was in line, but it wasn't supposed to be like that.
And that's pretty much our life in a nutshell. Like everything with the kids, just she's the planner. I'm not. She's the neat one. I'm not. So it just works, right?
Yeah, I had to learn though. I had to learn to adjust. Yeah. Cause he's only neat sometimes. Right. You only let me plan certain stuff, but most of the time, over the years I've had to learn to just fly by the seat of my pants. Sometimes.
That's when it's exciting.
It's unnerving.
Ain't no fun in planning and everything.
He's laid back.
Yeah, I'm kind of laid back. Like I'm more, however you feel, I'm good with it. Like for me, and this is just my personal outlook on life. Life gives us enough challenges, and life is hard enough as it is, right? So I live by the saying, let's not make any more problems than we have to. So for me, if it's something that she wants to do and it's not that serious for me, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go along with whatever she says because I know her need for order. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna fall in line and do whatever she need me to do. Now some things I'm gonna put my foot down on and say, nah, this is the way it needs to be, or this makes more sense, and that kind of thing. And I think the biggest thing is how to communicate that. You know, you cannot, as a grown person who has been, brought up different ways, we both have different triggers, both have different outlooks on life, right? So you have to respect somebody else's view or outlook on things that may or may not work for you. And so for me, I've learned to just pick my battles, so to speak. You know what I mean? And my dad told me a long time ago when I was 17, 18 years old, that you can't raise no grown woman. You know what I mean? So don't spend your time trying to make her who you think she should be. And if you love her, just find ways to adjust what you expect and meet in the middle some kind of way. And sometimes everything ain't 50-50. That's another thing I had to learn. My things that I may like, I might need her 70% of to meet me 70% because I only got 30% of that. You know what I mean? So, and vice versa. So I think that's a big part of compromise and marriage in itself.
Okay. I'm the over person. I'm the overthinker. Mm-hmm. I'm the overly emotional person. I'm the overly communicate. Overly communicate. I do it all. To be honest with you, he doesn't really pay me attention, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean he doesn't feed into it from me. And then I have learned to just kind of let it go. I think our foundation is sort of kind of the same, where it's like, people in our family, our, parents, our elders, aunties, uncles have basically said the same things to us. It's about compromise, meeting in the middle. It's about communicating. I was told too, you can't change or train a grown man. And so his things or his nuances or the way he is, I had to learn to accept those things. Certain things, yes, I can change. Mm-hmm. But other stuff, you can't really change it. So you learn to grow with that person. And the only thing I ever, stress to him is that, because he's not the communicator that I am. So I have to get him to talk. I have to get him to understand. He has to talk to me the way I can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we can talk, then I'm fine with it. You know, I have said sometimes you'd be surprised what you can agree to or come to terms with when somebody has a conversation with you about it. You just have to talk to me.
Yeah.
And that's all I
all
ask.
the time. But I think for me, you know, growing up with my dad, who was a man's man, you know, macho, handled everything himself type of thing. And so for him, watching him grow up, he always provided for us. He always took us on trips. He always respected my mom. But he wasn't the greatest communicator as far as expressing himself through words. You know what I mean? And so he showed us how much he loved us by doing things. And I think I've picked up some of that trait, and also trying to be more of a communicator for my wife and my family. You know what I mean? So that's one of the challenges that I have. You know, just dealing with everything internally. And I think that's a problem with a lot of men. Because, you know, we don't receive, I don't think we receive enough care for our perspective. Sometimes with things that may make us feel, you know, less than forthcoming about different information. You know what I'm saying? So things that may affect us in a way that we gonna feel vulnerable or emotional, we have to say, this is my wife. You know, there's nobody else in the world that I can talk to about this other than her, and she still be there right by my side. You know what I mean? And so that's the kind of thing that I've had to learn to let my guards down and say, hey, that's my wife. She ain't going nowhere. She's been here and she's been rocking with me. So if I can't be vulnerable with her, I can't be vulnerable with nobody. And this is another thing. It's no one size fit all. It's no cookie cutter. There's no one way to love. And every situation, every circumstance is different. There's some core key values that you must have in a relationship, in any relationship, not just marriages, friendships, you know, mother,
Trust,
father,
love, communication.
Those three things are important. And after that, you know, it's just ways and how you deal with those things. But I always say it's no one way to love, man. It's how you two grown adults decide what makes you happy. You know what I mean? And how much can you compromise when you don't agree with something that still makes you feel like a person. You know what I mean? And if the other person is gonna realize what you need and that care, that's important. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. There's no one way to love. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. There's no one way to love. Legacy. You want to answer that?
I only think of like what others think of you when you're not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What you leave behind.
What you leave behind, yeah. I was gonna say that. For me, I think about how my kids see me. Ultimately, when we're gone, long gone, they are going to take with them the things that we instilled in them, whether we taught it to them verbally or showed them. And so for me, I try to leave my legacy behind as something that they can, you know, think back on in key situations. You know what I mean? You hear the saying, what would Jesus do? What would God do?
What did our parents do?
Yeah.
What did my dad do? Or what did my mom do?
Yeah. And you know, that kind of value system is important, especially for me, because I feel like through my parents I got sugar and spice. You know what I mean? Like my dad was a rough and tumble kind of guy. My mom was like sweet, sensuous, you know, cool all the time. You never seen her get upset. My dad was the more the feisty one. And I feel like all of his kids, all my brothers and sisters, we kind of right in the middle of that. You know what I mean? And that balance is important. So, you know, that legacy I want to leave for my kids is having balance spiritually, emotionally, and physically, and saying that, you know, my parents taught me how to deal with the world that's out here now. So.
And not having both parents in my household growing up, I got the kind of, say this the other end. I got the independent, where you're supposed to be a strong black woman. Nobody's gonna give you anything. You kind of gotta make sure you assert yourself in the world, and things like that. So
that's why you want to do everything by yourself.
That is why I want to do everything by myself.
She asked me to get up and cook the kids something. If I don't do it in the next 5 minutes, she gonna go downstairs and cook herself.
Do it myself.
I'm like, you can't make me get up and do what you want to do when you want to do it.
But my point was, if I didn't need you to do it, I wouldn't have asked you.
Right, but I'm gonna do it in the next 6 minutes.
No, I don't want you to do it when you want to do it. I want you to do it when I ask you to do it.
This is marriage.
Or else I wouldn't ask you to do it.
See, this is
I would do it myself.
Got it.
So you have like this invisible time frame. If I ask you something, it's that you don't know how long that time is, but you can figure it's at least about 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the task.
Right.
And if you don't do it within that time, my imaginary time frame, then I'll do it myself.
Yep. And I know that about her, so sometimes I wait it out, let her do it herself, because I don't want to.
Because you don't want to do it.
Or I get up and do it myself. I know it's coming. But that's love, though. That's love.
Don't live by stereotypes.
Yeah, don't.
Do what you feel like doing.
Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I said, there's no one way to love. There's nobody, telling you how to do this and how to do that. And at the end of the day, respect one another. I think that's the biggest thing.
And I'm still big on communication.
Yeah, communicate as friends.
Talk it out. I don't ever want, and I tell this to our 18-year-old, like I don't want kids to feel like they have to fit in this mold, or they have to do this, or you graduate from high school, you go to college, you meet the love of your life, y'all
have some kids and get a house.
Yeah, get a house. It doesn't have to flow in that direction. If you find that one, then do it the way y'all feel like doing it. I see a lot of people around me who have to have these like big extravagant weddings, do it by the book, and it's just like, it's so cookie cutter, and it's so y'all really want to do that? I remember around the time we were dating or talking at the time, and somebody that was working with me was getting married. She was like 20, she was about 27, and she was getting married. And I remember asking her, "You sure you want to get married at 27?" And she kind of looked at me like, "Yeah, I'm 27. I need to get married." And I'm just like, I wasn't 27. I was older than her, but I was like, so does that say something about me? But at the end of the day, it wasn't meant for me to be married until I was married. I don't think you have to rush it. I don't think you have to do stuff. I work in healthcare, and a lot of people, I work around a lot of people, and I interact with a lot of people, and just some of their stories, I just have to tell them sometimes, it doesn't have to be that way. Some people will say, "Oh my gosh, I'm 32 and I'm not where I feel like I should be, in my career." And I'm just like, what's the problem with that? Like, you're still young at 32. You're still young at 27, and you're not married. Oh my gosh, you're married, you have kids. Or a lot of women, kids are a touchy subject. And my thing is, you have kids when you feel like having kids. Especially growing up, I would say our parents, the generation of our parents and beyond, sometimes I'm like, you tell them you're a 17-year-old or a 19-year-old pregnant, and they like, "Oh my goodness." And I'm like, y'all the same ones who, our great-grandparents or grandparents, y'all had kids at like 15 and things like that. So what's the difference now? It's no different to me.
My 15-year-old better not come on pregnant, though. I'll be honest with you. I might have something to say about that.
I think when you have something to say, but
y'all can tell she's an over-communicator, too. Yeah, that's the story.
I was long-winded?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's all good. You got your point. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful story.
No,
stories.
Did I finish it?
We're
good.
I think
Okay,
we're good. Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. Love who you with, and make sure you respect each other. That's the main thing. Yeah. From the Marshalls.
From the Marshalls.